DreAllDay.com.
What up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. This is a common question I get from players. They say, how do you deal with a coach who plays favorites or a coach who hates on you, or when a coach picks a player whom you're better than over you? And I'm going to tell you what my answer is in 99 out of 100 cases, which means it's probably your case, you who's watching this video, is that none of those is actually true. The coach isn't playing favorites. The coach isn't hating on you. The coach didn't pick a player who you're better than over you. The number one problem that most of you have is not about the coach. It's not about the other player. It's not about anyone's dad or favorites or any other bullshit convoluted reasons / excuses that you come to me with. The problem is your lack of performance. Because here's the thing, you only control you. You only control what you think, what you say, and what you do. So if you're thinking about, oh, the coach didn't pick me because, and then you fill in the blank with some excuse, all you're doing is reinforcing the excuse. You're reinforcing your own weakness. Every time you make an excuse, you're making yourself weaker. Because when you make an excuse, you know what you do? You give yourself a pass for not achieving what you wanted to achieve. So all you're doing, and you're making it okay. Basically, your subconscious mind takes it as, okay, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, but it only happened because of this outside factor that I don't have control over, which makes it okay for me not to achieve what I want to achieve. And every time you tell yourself that, and your subconscious mind accepts that fact, that idea, all it does is reinforce it. It makes it stronger. So now the next time, it'll be even easier for you to make an excuse and accept the fact that you didn't get what you want. So excuses weaken you. They're not just, I heard someone say, there was a quote, excuses are monuments to nothingness. Well, it's not nothingness. It actually is a negative. It makes you weaker every time you make an excuse, as in, oh, I didn't make the team because the coach picked somebody who's not even as good as me, or I got all these skills, but he picked somebody who has no skills. Those aren't true. Those are just excuses. You have to understand where you're at. I say this over and over in the Q&A. I get asked this a lot that I do every Saturday, the Q&A. Players say, well, he picked a player who doesn't have all the skills as me, or I have all these skills, but the coach didn't pick me for the team, or I got all these skills and I dominate in practice, but I don't even get on the court in the games. He's playing people who I'm clearly 10 times better than. Listen, you're never going to get anywhere in life until you realize where you're at. If you was to call an airline, you called American Airlines right now and said, hey, put me on the next flight to Dallas. The attendant on the phone would say, sure, I'll put you on the next flight to Dallas. But first of all, I need to know where the hell you're at so we know where to pick you up at so we can get you from point A to point B. You can't just say, send me to point B, because first we got to know where point A is. So as long as you're lying to yourself, telling yourself that you have all these skills and you're so much better than everybody, yet there's no performance to prove it, you're never going to get anywhere because you don't even realize where you're at. So the first step is accepting where you're at. Are these players who are playing more than you, are they better than you? Are they performing better than you in a game? And another thing, when you say that you're better than another player, that's not just about what you can do when you're practicing by yourself. It's not just about what you can do when you're playing with your friends, or what you do in pickup, or what you do in practice for the team. Your in-game performance is a huge factor in who's better than who. So if you got all these skills that you practice when you by yourself and you dribbling around chairs and doing crossovers on cones and you're a superstar in that setting, but then you get in the game and you don't do nothing, then guess what? You're not good. And there's a player who's not that great in doing the drills and wherever you getting these drills from me or anywhere else, and he's not that great at that, but when it comes to the games, he's performing, he's better than you. Your performance in the game determines what level of player you are. So if you're not performing in the game, I don't care what skills you have. You need to get on developing your instincts, your in-game skill. Because what you do in practice is only a preparation for when you get into the game. That's all practice is. Practice is getting yourself ready for the game. And if you're practicing a lot and you're great in practice and you're not doing anything in the game, then that means something's wrong with your practice. That means you need to change the way you're practicing. And it means you need to play in more games. So coaches do not hate on players. All right? No coach is hating on you. All right? The coach, you are not that significant to the coach. That's the number one thing you have to understand. Understand that each one of us, we're tuned into, if you ever heard somebody say that, we're tuned into WIIFM, which is mean what's in it for me. Every human being out there, we see things through our own paradigms. Everything that happens around us, we assume, sometimes some people's first instinct is that it has something to do with us. Listen, none of you is that significant to anybody else. We are all more significant to ourselves than we are to everyone else around us. So when somebody else does something that you might see as negative for whatever reason, it's usually not about you. It's way more about them. You just happen to be the person who's around when it happened. Whether that be something they said to you or something that they did that wasn't even about you, but it affected you and you took it as negative. Like a coach taking one player over you is not because he's hating on you or he wanted to make you upset. It's because he's focused on him, which is what's going to put me in the best position to win games. And for whatever reason, he chose that player over you. It's not about you. Coaches don't hate on players, especially you young players, you middle schoolers and high schoolers. No coach is hating on you. All right, that coach got a whole lot more things going on in his life than be worrying about your ass. All right, what you need to do is step your performance up. When your performance increases, you'll make those teams. You won't have to worry about anybody hating on you, talking about you, somebody making the team because they're taller than you. And ultimately, I do have to say this too, if you're on the team where the coach doesn't appreciate you or you try out and the coach doesn't recognize how great you are according to a lot of you guys, self-assessments, your self-scouting reports that I get a lot of times in emails and in comments, if you're as good as your scouting report, then you wouldn't have any problems. Very rarely do I hear a player come to me and say, hey, I'm okay at this, I'm good at that, but I'm terrible at this, and this, and I didn't make the team, and then the coach is hating on me. No, because then it wouldn't make sense, right? The only time people can justify saying the coach is hating on them is when for some reason they see themselves as this superstar player. But I don't think players really see themselves as that. I think they say that when they're talking to somebody else because it makes the story sound better. Like, oh, I'm this great player and the coach didn't pick me. What the hell is wrong with him? If you're really that good, I want to say, that was my point to say this. If you're really that good, ultimately you can leave that situation and go play for a different team. So prove to that coach that he made a mistake. That's what you can do if you're really as good as you say you are. And if you're not, and I think that you probably know that you're not, and it has nothing to do with saying it to me or anybody else, go improve your game. Improve your game through your practice. Improve your performance through playing in games, getting reps. We call reps, which is game experience, doing the things that you're doing in practice. You have to get those reps. You have to improve your skill, and eventually you're going to improve your performance when it counts, meaning tryouts, meaning games, meaning playing against people you're not familiar with. Those are all important parts of it. And if you're not performing in a game, you're not good. Just because you can do it in practice or you can do it on a court by yourself doesn't make you good. It's what you do in the actual game against actual people that matters. That's what counts, and that's what people are going to remember. That's what tryouts is, right? Is an actual, you're playing against actual people in a live setting and they're trying to stop you and you're trying to score. That's what matters. If your performance is not good in that setting, then you're not a good basketball player. I don't care what you did in the empty gym. Your handles are good in the empty gym, but you can't dribble when somebody's guarding you, then ultimately you can't dribble. And I understand all the effort and time that gets put into practicing. I get it. Trust me, I get it. But what you do in a game is all anybody's going to remember. Nobody ever got a trophy for what they did in practice. You get your awards, those rewards, the spoils go to the victors of the games, not the practices, the games. So if you're not performing in the game, you need to figure out what's missing. There's only two things that can be missing. Your skills are lacking, or your preparation, which means your experience is lacking. Your preparation meaning experience being in this situation being whatever's happening in the game where you're not getting the performance. So you need to step up your skills by practicing, increase your experience, get more reps by playing in as many games as you possibly can, whether that be a pickup game, a 3-on-3 game, an official league that you're playing in, whatever situations you find yourself not performing in, put yourself in that situation over and over and over again till you get good at it. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. I know it's not fun. I know there's a lot of easier things you could be doing, but guess what? If it was easy, I don't even need to finish that sentence, do I? Work on your game. Dre all day, untitled.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.